Welcome everyone to Selenium training by Wisdom Trainings. And today in this video we will be covering that how we can group some test cases and how we can parameterize them. If you have any doubts or query, you can go on your site in your free video section, and for your queries and doubts you may use this speak your mind section and drop your questions or doubts. Okay. Now moving further, in the last video we have already seen how we can create some test case and how we can group them. We can run them, right? So in this video we'll be going further with the grouping of test cases. To start with, I'm firstly making a new module over here by the name test underscore grouping demo. Okay, now when I talk about grouping some test cases, there might be a probability when you have a number of test cases. Likewise over here I have a series of test case by the name test underscore case underscore first. There might be a series continuing to this first, second, third, fourth, right? Similarly, I can also have some another type of test case. So to look at that, I'll just simply will copy it from here and I'll simply will paste it and I'll remove this skip line. And likewise this I'll make another test case. I'll firstly will add the print statement and now I'll add some more test cases like def test A, and simply inside it I'll just name the test case. Okay. Similar to this, I'm making two more test cases. Test underscore case underscore 1. Okay, a little different series I'll start with. So I'll say print. And inside this test cases, I'm already having my print statements, none other than that. Okay, now you can see that there are three different genre of test cases I have. First is this, second is of different genre, then A, B is my alphabets, and 1 is my number, right? So if I'll group them according to their categories of test, so I'll use the decorator. I'll say at the rate PyTest. I need to import the PyTest in my system. In my code, and I'll say pytest.mark, and simply I just need to give the name of the group I want to group them into. So I'll say, let's just say numbers or just say series. Okay. Similar to this way, I will add this annotation on the test case which I want to add in this group, in the series group. Okay, I'll add the second in this same group. Then for the test case A, I'll make another group. Let's make it as alphabets. Okay, and I'll simply will copy it from here and I'll paste it over the test case which I want to add in the alphabets group. And last I have the numbers, so I'll just will copy it from here and I'll change the name. Okay, numbers. Now you can see over here that I have three different groups in which there are three different test cases, right? So when I want to run these test cases, I'll have to go to my command prompt and from there I have to run them. So how I can run them from the command prompt? I'll go on my command prompt. I'll simply will use the command pytest as like when we were running a specific single test case. So I have given it as -k, right? Over here, if I'll show that to you, you can see -k just for a single test case. Now since I'm running a group, so I'll use the -m, which will specify that which test case I want to run. So I will just simply give the name of the group which I want to run. Let's say I want to run alphabets. Okay. And along with that, I need to give the module name where my test case is lying, which is grouped inside this alphabet group. So I'll say test underscore grouping demo. Okay, grouping demo. Make sure that the spellings are right, otherwise you won't see any output. So I'll just simply will run this test code, and over here you can see that it says collected 5 items, 3 deselected and 2 are selected. That means over here if I'll show, I have 5 test cases, right? Out of these test cases, 2 test cases are grouped inside the alphabet group and rest all are deselected and they are not running, right? So according to that only my test cases giving me output as 2 passed and 3 selected. Likewise, I have run this specific group. What if I want to skip this group only and run rest of the test cases? So for that also you need not to be worried about. Over here in the brackets, in the quotes, you have given the name of the test case. Just prefix the word not, and except for that group, all the test case will be running. So if I'll run it again, and now you can see it says collected 5 items, 2 deselected and 3 selected. That means out of these 5, 2 are deselected. That means these 2 are deselected. For that I have given not alphabet group. So that's why 3 got selected. These are the 3. Okay. I'll not be able to show you the print statement because at the same time it will not allow you to have 2 different remarks. Okay, if I'll show that to you, it will not allow me to have that. If I'll add -s as well, and now if I try to run that, so it will say that it cannot take more than one argument. That's why it's just taking one single argument. Okay, so this was about how you can group some test cases and run them according to your wish. The same way, if I say that I want, this is kind of repetition, right? There are only print statements in my test case, just the name of the test case is being changed. Now if we take example, just to show how we can parameterize some test case, so what I'll do is, I'll simply will make a new module. I'll say pydef module, and I'll name it as test underscore parameterize demo. Okay. Now when I talk about parameterized demo, let's just take a small example of adding 2 numbers. Okay. So I'm making a function, let's say name def add, and inside this add I'll pass 2 arguments, let's say a and b. Okay, sorry, a and b. Now inside that I'll simply will make the function as we have done till now, plus b return result. Okay, this is good to go. We have already done this, so I won't go into explaining it much. I'll simply will jump to the test cases, making the test cases. I'll name it as a, and inside this name I'll simply will call this function add. I'll say output is equals to result, sorry, not result, add ab, and in this a and b I'll just simply will give the arguments. Okay, now there is one more topic that we have to cover before going into parameterize, that is the assertion. Now what assertion is, over here we know that the output is going to be 9 plus 6 is 15, right? That is the actual result, that is the expected result, that it should, sorry, it's the actual result. And over here after calculating it, there will be something in this result, right? That is my expected result, that what is going to come over here. So there is a keyword in Python, that is assert. Now this assert compares the actual result with the expected result. If the actual result is equals to the expected result, then it gives you true, otherwise it will give you a false with an assertion error. Let's just see how it's going to be. So if I'll say assert output is equals to, there will be some value coming in this output, right? Over here it will be giving me 15. I'll say that I want to compare it with 15 only. This is my actual result that I want to call for. So now what I need to do is I'll simply will run this test code, Python unit test, and run. Okay, now if I come to my console over here, it says 1 passed in this much seconds, because over here my output was also having the correct answer, that is 15, and I am comparing it with the right actual result, that is 15. Now what if over here instead of 15 I give some incorrect comparison? So it will give you an error. You can see over here failures In the failure, it will tell you also that in which test code the error has come, where the error is coming, right? After that, it will check, it will give you an arrow that where actually the error has occurred. So it will see assert output is equals to 16, that is what I have given. Now it's comparing the expected result with the actual result. So my expected result is 15 because interpreter is going to calculate and give me the output which is right. But it's up to me whether I am giving a right actual result or not. So I intentionally gave a wrong actual result, that was 16. So it came out to be false, it came out to be incorrect. So that's why it gave me a failure with an assertion error. Okay, we're going to use this assertion when we'll be working with the frameworks. So right now this was just a simple example. And using this assert only, I'll be making the demo for parameterizing, that how we can parameterize the test case. So if I'll go back and I'll make some more cases, some more test cases like this, I'll copy this code from here and I'll simply will keep pasting it and make few cases like fine. These are 5 test cases that I have: B, then C, then D, and let's see the last one, the E. Okay, these are 5 test cases. What I need to do is I need to change the output, the values over here. 19, let's say 6, 12. I'm giving the right outputs right now. Okay. So it becomes 7, and over here I'll say 3. It becomes 9. Okay. If I'll run all these test cases, it says 5 passed in this much second. If you add some print statements over here, that all will be printed because we have already made the changes to my whole project. Right. So what I'm doing in this project, it will be reflecting in my console as well. So now you can see over here that there are 5 different test cases, but the functionality of the test cases are actually the same. It's having a variable output and it's calling the function add. Just the changes that the name of test case is little different, just to make it not a duplicate test case. That's why it's different. And second thing is the arguments that I'm passing. That's it, that has been changed. Rest is all the same. The logic and the application is same. So this is kind of a repetition of data and making much more test cases which are actually not required. So to reduce it and to reduce the code also, what I can do is I can simply make some another test case. Let's say test underscore calculate, and inside this calculate I will pass 3 arguments. Okay, I'll say my first number, then my second number, and then I'm also passing the result. Okay, instead of writing it over here manually, I'll just will pass the result whatever is coming over here. And now what I need to do is I'll simply need to check the expected result. So I'll say result, sorry, not result, output is equals to add. Now over here I'll need to change it to num1 and number 2. Okay, and I'll compare it. Result output, assert output is equals to result. Okay, this is what a simple test function can do. This is what we are actually doing, right? So I will just simply comment all the rest test cases which I already had. I'll make it comment, and now I will make my parameterizing statement. For that I need to have the decorator, and will have to import pytest in my function right now. So I'll say pytest.mark dot parameterize, and in this parameterize argument list I need to pass the statements I'm passing over here, right? So I will simply copy it from here and I'll pass it over here. Now you must be wondering that where we need to pass the arguments. So over here, when we are passing the arguments, we'll pass it over here in the square brackets to differentiate the argument list from the data set. Okay, so I will put the data from here and I'll say, firstly let me just make the, right now I'm giving 4 data sets. Okay, inside this data sets what I need to pass is 6 arguments that I need to give. Then I have 8, 8, 16. Right now I'm giving all the right answers. Okay, so I'll say 1 plus 5, 6, 13. Okay, now what if I'll run this test case, how my output is going to be affected and how it's going to look. So let's just see. There is no difference in the outputs, it's actually the same. It says 4 passed in this much seconds. Now you must be wondering that if there is any error occurring at any of the data sets, how will you be able to see that? So what you need to do is, let's say I have a incorrect comparison over here and I'll run this code again. So likewise it will tell me that at which it's a failure and at which data set my error has come. It will provide you the same information as well as over here. Okay, it will tell you that which arguments were provided and what data is inside that, and then it will give you the error at which point the error occurred, and that the final statement will be that how many has been passed and what is the actual status of the failed one. Okay, so this is how you can parameterize some test cases. We will also be looking at this parameterization when we'll be working with frameworks. Right now we are using these test cases just to do a simple print statements and some arithmetic operations. We'll be taking a look at how we can deal with them while we have to work with the browsers. But they'll be working at the time we'll be working with the Selenium. Okay, at that time I'll show you that how you can use the PyTest with the browsers. Okay, this was all for the today's video. Do practice it and you'll understand the flow more. Till the time, thank you.